Hi everyone, this is Katie Stockton. I have a company called Fairlead Strategies. We publish technical strategy research primarily focused on US equities. And for us, 2020 has really all been about the FANG plus M stocks. And by that, we mean Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, Google or Alphabet, and Microsoft. And those stocks taken together really have asserted themselves as upside leaders this year, certainly off of the March low for the S&P 500. What you're seeing on this chart here is a compilation of all of those stocks together. So an index based on the FANG plus M stocks. And you can see that index bottomed in a V bottom fashion in March and really took off and didn't look back until September. The collective gain off of that March low, so from the March low to the September high, was about 90%. Very impressive. They're not the top gainers for the year, but definitely solid. And they really have a very big footprint in the major indices. So that naturally was a positive influence on the major indices coming off that March low. Here we have the constituents of the S&P 500 SPDR ETF. So SPY is that ticker. And it gives us a sense of the footprint of these stocks, the FANG plus M stocks. You can see Apple with a 6% net weighting there, Microsoft, Amazon, Facebook, Alphabet, all in the top 5. Netflix down in number 21 with a sub 1% weighting. Nevertheless, taken together, they really comprise a big footprint in the S&P 500 and an even bigger footprint in the NASDAQ 100. So their participation is incredibly important, and their upside leadership can generate a very, very strong tape. And that's, of course, what we saw off of the March low this year. This is a chart of the S&P 500 in the same format as the FANG plus M stock chart. And you can see here that V bottom again at the March low and a 60% gain off of that level through the September high for the S&P 500 before it entered a consolidation phase from which it's already advanced to new all-time highs recently as of November's very impressive up move. So FANG stocks certainly a contributing factor to that turnaround that we saw intra-year, and really the just stalwarts in terms of long-term upside leadership. Here's what we're looking at individually. So the stocks each have a redeeming technical quality. So the uptrends that did initiate in March are still very much intact in our opinion. So let's start with Facebook. Facebook has the uptrend, and within that context, a triangle formation. Triangle formations usually are resolved in the direction of the prevailing trend. So that would mean a breakout for Facebook from the triangle formation in a bullish development for next year. Amazon also has a triangle formation that has yet to be completed, but it does look promising. You can see the purple line. This is the 200-day moving average. It's pointing higher for Amazon and for really all of the FANG plus M stocks. So that reflects the long-term uptrend. The green line pictured is the 50-day moving average, and for some it has flattened in a lagging indication of the consolidation that began in September. But now we believe that these triangles will give way to breakouts, and that will set a positive tone for early 2021 for Amazon for one as well. Apple also has a triangle. In this case, the triangle has been completed. So we had this breakout here and a successful test of the breakout point. And now we're seeing some follow through from Apple. And that, as the biggest constituent of these major indices here in the US, that is contributing to upside follow through just recently for the S&P 500. Here is a chart of Netflix, a little bit different, not the strongest performer in the group as you can see, but its uptrend is also intact, and it has very strong support here that you can see that has been well tested. Previous lows on the chart are intact and are a natural staging ground for the relief rally that it appears we're starting to see here. Google is, or Alphabet I should say, is the one that has broken out to new highs. You can see that decisive breakout here, and it follows another decisive breakout from here. So a series of breakouts for Alphabet that also bode well for the uptrend to continue over the long term without really having any short-term implications. And finally, Microsoft, more aligned with Netflix in terms of how it sets up very, very strong support, well tested within the context of its long-term uptrend. So that's how they are taken together. Naturally, these large cap stocks, which are either technology, consumer discretionary, or communication services in terms of their sector, have contributed to the outperformance by growth over value. So as a factor, the growth factor has done very well this year relative to value up until November, where we saw a counter trend move that did favor value over growth. And of course, with that, we saw a short-term phase of underperformance by the FANG plus M stocks. Now that they're regaining some momentum and some relative strength, we think that this uptrend will resume, at least for now, in favor of growth. But I just think this is an astounding picture in terms of the steady uptrend favoring growth over value for 2020. Definitely something that the year will be known for in technical terms. Here is a ratio of the FANG plus M index to the S&P 500 index. And you can see they managed to outperform fairly consistently through July with this uptrend. So the ratio shows the relative performance. The breakout in June was a positive catalyst from an intermediate term perspective. And what we find somewhat encouraging is that the former resistance for that ratio now appears to be providing support. And here too, you can see in relative terms that the FANG stocks, or FANG plus M stocks, have an oversold condition relative to the S&P 500, and that oversold condition from a short-term perspective is occurring within the framework of the long-term uptrend denoted here by the 200-day moving average in purple. So the takeaway overall from a technical perspective is that the FANG plus M stocks have really been attributed for a lot of the gains this year. Even though they're not the biggest performer or best performers, they're among the biggest contributors to the major indices, and their leadership has helped us recover from what was a very harrowing downdraft earlier this year due to COVID. So we're hoping to see more of the same from the FANG plus M stocks in early 2021. Thanks so much.
Hey, Grayson Rose here with Stock Charts. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, consider giving it a like down below, maybe leave us a comment, and if you're new to the channel, you can subscribe at the link up above. We're gonna bring you daily content from an incredible collection of technical analysts and financial experts.